We reviewed the regular color. Now it's time for the 3-pup sup. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Today we're reviewing the Gibson.com exclusive 3-pickup Ebony ES Supreme. If you need to get caught up on the history of the Supremes and what the regular ones offer you, you can check out that previous episode. This one is actually different. So you get that third humbucker as a concession of no longer having like super figured maple tops and backs and getting the ebony finish. You still get your Super 400 inlays with the compound ebony fretboard radius, binding on the headstock, locking Grover tuners with your new chandelier logo. And as compared to the other Supremes, that center pickup is actually different. It's called the Burstbucker Mid Pro, and these ones get wired up a little bit differently. Because ever since Gibson started to do the new modern Supreme series, they would leave the 3-pickup black version exclusive just to Gibson.com and the Gibson Garage. So if you want to check out the Les Paul or the SG version, I've done the videos. Historically, these don't do that great for me, but I just think, in the future when they're out of production, somebody might like to see an up-close look at one of these things. But get a load of what I found in the case. So when I opened this thing, you might have noticed, hey, there's these dusts flying everywhere. What that is inside the guitar, these are multi-layers of wood. It's not uncommon during the shipping process for some of it to rattle free. And I want to give Gibson the benefit of the doubt that they do try to sweep out the guitar the best they can. But maybe they don't, because look at what was in my case. This is my favorite thing I think I've found. Like, I've found some pretty sizable fragments before, but nothing like this. But I'm going to keep this forever because look, it's the maple poplar maple sandwich of our top. Do you know what this came from? The F-hole right here. So when it was routed, it must have fell inside and for whatever reason was not caught at the factory or dealer. But at the same time, I'm really excited to add this little piece of wood to my collection because I always talk about the whole maple poplar maple sandwich, and some guitars it's not as easy to see as others because they paint the edges black to kind of hide that. That's a nice little teaching kit. But outside of just your pickups, these also get wired differently. So you have 3 independent volumes, which is 1 master tone, and all 3 of them are also coil splittable. So besides just having 3 humbuckers, you can get way more tones out of these due to that as well. So it's a bit of a trade-off. You get classier looks versus the super flashy flame tops, but not everybody likes the middle pickup, so it's just an option for you. Maybe in the future they could do an F-hole-less version of this, just to kind of make it look like a dressed-up Lucille, or be like a Lucille Legacy, but on a slight budget and in a solid finish rather than the transparent. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check out the Lucille Legacy episode, even though that one was a custom mod collection recreation, but they typically looked like this. So in many ways, I'm glad I kind of paired that together because it is a slightly more affordable way to get one of those or get something close to it. I mean, you don't have the BB King or Lucille branding to this one necessarily, but it looks pretty close. But these are offered at the exact same price as the other ones, $4,299. And you get the same case as the other ones, black interior and exterior with your Gibson logos. And as far as your case candy, it's everything we saw in the last episode. But hey, this is new. I bought this one at the Gibson Garage, and apparently their exclusives have a new little tag on them. And here's the original box tag for historical preservation, as well as our price tag. So to learn more about this one, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench to do a QC analysis and see what else we might be able to find about this one. Inside our Ebony Beauty, let's go ahead and check out our pickups. So we can confirm Wax Potted Rhythm Pro in the neck, the Mid Pro in the middle that we didn't get to see last time. I thought this was funny. They stuff all the wiring in here so it doesn't show up in your F-holes. But that is indeed the Lead Pro Plus. But you have to remember, this one is wired differently. You have 3 independent volumes for each pickup. So traditionally, a 3-pickup Gibson is wired. This is your neck position. This is your bridge, okay, usual stuff. But instead of your middle position being these 2, it's actually these 2 together, kind of in a out of phase, almost single coil-like sound. I've always been a big fan of that. However, the middle position on this one, stock, is actually all 3 pickups together. So what that means for this guitar is if you roll this one off, you have now taken the middle pickup out of the circuit, you're going to get regular readings. So that means your neck reads 7.51 k ohms, the bridge 8.36, and this is going to give you your traditional middle sound, which is the bridge and neck together, reading about 4 k ohms. However, if we bring that middle pickup in, you can actually see what it's doing here. All 3 pickups together. Now, experience with the other models tell me, can we get our usual one if we roll the neck off? Unfortunately, no. The way this is wired, it doesn't allow for that. So the best way to think of this is more of a blend knob. How much of the middle pickup do you want in that? Because that does get affected as you go, in your middle position only. And then of course, don't forget, you can also do all those same things, but with coil splits, and when they're all three on, you're gonna have two split, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of tonal opportunities in here. I'm not gonna be able to demo all of them, but I'll try my best. But interestingly enough, it's just like our other ES Supreme. For whatever reason, the splitting and whatnot does not affect the readings within the circuit, but it does work. Here's a look at our neck pickup cavity. As far as 330 style guitars go, this one's not too bad. You can see your long neck tenon and the mahogany neck joining into our maple block, as well as our maple poplar maple sandwich being pressed to form the top before you get your spruce bracing and your center block. You don't get to see a middle pickup route very often on these. That one looks relatively clean, and you can see more of our construction from a cross-section shot. And the bridge pickup route, more of the same, but you can see through to the bottom spruce bracing as well. But I'd say that's our best cross-section yet, as far as seeing the maple poplar maple sandwich. As far as our bridge, same as the last one, lightweight aluminum by API with Allen key adjustments on the top, and a lightweight aluminum gold tailpiece by the same company. We don't get to appreciate any super ultra flamey tops on this one, but if you're curious, do they actually still put it on there? Like, can you wear it away and have a cool pattern? Peeking inside here tells you the answer. Nah, it's just plain. But this was unique. Our last one actually called these things an ES335 and had Supreme at the top, but this one is called Style Gloss Gibson Supreme with our serial number. So now I'm curious if my other one was a mistake or if these are just written down differently. But here we can appreciate our binding along the top. Such a very nice, classy look. And this was definitely one of those ones where pick guard on 100% all the way. It just adds to it. But now we can move on from our primarily maple body to our mahogany neck and ebony fretboard. This one still has our compound fretboard radius, so it'll start more rounded in this area and flatten up a bit up here. It's usually a range from 10 to 16, but you get the Super 400 inlays in your ebony board, and they're made of real mother of pearl. Now, as far as the fine nitty-gritty QC details, unfortunately not the best work we've ever seen out of Gibson. You got a lot of tooling marks, and it looks like the black finish is kind of rubbing off on some of the fret nibs. And it almost looks like they rolled over the fretboard edge a bit too much, because it makes some of the dots on the side a little bit closer to the top. Like this one was almost sanded away, but a rolled fretboard edge is a nice thing. And you can see where the lacquer has seeped into where the nut is. That's a newer thing that Gibson's been doing. I'm not sure if that's intentional, like, oh, that'll help keep our nut in place, or if it's a defect. I'd say this side of the binding is very similar to the other. However, give them credit where credit's due. The fretboard itself, I honestly don't see too much tooling marks. So it's mainly just our binding. And for example, over here on the body, I can see where the finish is slightly lifting in these areas. I want to blame it on the pick guard. However, it doesn't actually come into direct contact there, but it might still be affecting it. So I didn't see that anywhere else besides some buffing compound being stuck between the finish ridge and where the binding is. And if we really want to get in their face, okay, they got a couple of black spots right there. Kind of a wide neck profile though, 1.73 inches at the nut, 2.09 at the 12. First fret neck depth, 0.87 and 0.95 by the 12. It's your typical 24 3/4 inch scale yet though. Here's a look at that neck profile at the first fret and the 12th fret, just a nice rounded C. Now the face of the headstock, nice locking golden Grover tuners with our Gibson mother of pearl logo and our chandelier. And here's what our truss rod's looking like. It's got an employee sign off right under it and everything's looking good. And here's a look at the Supreme truss rod cover. Moving on to the back, not a lot to talk about, but it is a pressed back, so you get the belly to it yet. But here's a closer look at our 3-ply back binding. And as with any black finish guitar, you're gonna have minor scratches to it. It's impossible to get these things perfect, but they look pretty nice from far away. But we've got the large style strap buttons on these. There are other ones up here at the heel. And here's a side angle shot of our tuxedoed friend. There's an area right here where the black has come down a little bit further than it should. That looks like a scraping issue to me. And seeing a line where the neck and body join is not all that uncommon after a couple of years, but this one is visible if you get it in the light just right. And then at first I thought this was like a white speck of something, or maybe it's leftover buffing compound, but I've tried my best to get that off, and I think that might actually be a minor contamination within the finish. So as far as the small nitty-gritty details on this particular one, not Gibson's best showing that they've had, but we haven't found anything that actually affects playability. So there's the backside of our Golden Grover tuners, and our serial number dates it to 2024, the 144th day of the year. Initial batch, production number 54, made in USA. All said and done, this one is 8 pounds, 8.9 ounces, so just a little over 8.5. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how the 3 pickup version sounds. We'll start our demo by taking that middle pickup out of the circuit, so it's just like a regular ES Supreme. Now we'll bring that middle pickup in. That really only affects our middle position though. I like that. Taking it back out. Then you can also slightly blend it. It's not really like a super ultra sweep in my opinion. So personally, I would view that more as an on-off switch for your middle pickup, but are there some nuances you could potentially get out of it? Yes. So those are your basic tones if you don't want to mess with push-pull pots. But now we will just go ahead and split everything to simplify this a bit. For me, the real winner on this guitar is all 3 pickups. It gives you something that you can't get on the regular Supreme, so I think that's why I'm gravitating towards it, because it just sounds like a usual middle pickup with these 2 together. Very nice and chimey. But remember, you can get crazy with the middle pickup, so I'll try to give you a bit of a test of that. That was all of them split. Now it's just going to be the neck and middle split. Now it's just the middle. Full. Now just the bridge. Just the neck. So if you're a recording guitarist, you might enjoy those options. For me, I just like having simple stuff. So there we go, the Gibson.com exclusive 3-pickup Ebony ES Supreme. Should you get it, or should you go for the regular one? For me, I think this one had slightly better clean tones because you've got a little bit more options. So if you don't want to own a Fender to have those sparkling clean tones, I think that's who this is for, and that's what I've always said about 3-pickup Gibsons. They're the closest thing that Gibson makes to a single coil equipped guitar in their regular lineup outside of things like the M3 and whatnot with their NSX. So I was really happy with the clean tones. Now when it comes to the dirty tones, the coil tap doesn't sound that great. To me personally, maybe your playing style's different and your music would sound great. I mean, they're definitely modern pickups. I'm not really a modern player. Maybe once you start really ripping the solos, that would sound nice. So when it comes to distortion, just leave it on your bridge, you're good to go. Now the cleans, you can toy around with that and have a lot of fun. Now between the two that I reviewed, this one's more resonant, however, I think I just prefer the regular one. It's a little prettier as far as the figured woods go. It might not have as many tonal opportunities to it, but I kind of like that. I like having a few options that I can just be like, yep, this is what that guitar can do, let's do it. But anyways, I hope these two videos helped you make an informed decision whether the ES Supreme is correct for you or not. Or if you weren't interested in the first place, it helps keep you up to date on what Gibson's making. This one had quite a few small QC issues, and honestly, I think the nut needs to be slightly looked over and filed a bit because for some reason I was turning this tuner, but the pitch wasn't changing, so maybe a fresh set of strings would be good too. The only reason I bring that up is I will be selling this demo unit on my website if you're interested in being the next owner of it. But alright, Troglodytes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow on the next one. Take care.